Have you ever wondered why your affirmations don't always work? Why you can repeat the same sentence every morning? I am abundant, I am powerful, I am loved, and still feel empty, unheard, unchanged. The truth is simple, but often missed. The universe doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you feel. Words are surface, emotions are signal. We've been taught that language is the key to creation, that if we just say the right thing, the right way, the universe will rearrange itself to deliver. But this isn't how the deeper mechanics of reality function. The language of the cosmos isn't English, or Sanskrit, or even thought. It is frequency, it is vibration, and emotions are the most powerful form of vibration you emit. You can whisper peace 1,000 times, but if your body is locked in fear, the frequency you're sending is chaos. You can declare love, chant success, pray for freedom, but if what's coursing through you is doubt, shame, or unworthiness, that's what the field receives. Because emotion is raw, unfiltered, honest. It can't be faked. Think of your body as an antenna. Every emotion you feel broadcasts a signal, not in words, but in energy. That signal shapes what you attract, how you're perceived, and what paths open or close in front of you. And the universe? It listens with precision. It matches your resonance note, your vocabulary. So if you've been wondering why nothing changes, maybe it's not your message that's broken. Maybe it's your emotion behind the message that's misaligned. You've probably heard the phrase, energy doesn't lie. It's true. Energy is the first language, the oldest language, and the only one that bypasses illusion. You can smile, speak kindly, dress the part, but your emotional frequency will still broadcast what's real, and the universe, like a perfect mirror, will reflect it back to you, without judgment, without distortion. That's why you've seen people speak abundance yet live in lack, or shout love while drowning in self-hate. Because the words are noise, the emotion is the command. You are not just a thinker. You are a transmitter. Every heartbeat, every breath, every contraction of the gut or swell in the chest, that's emotional data being encoded into your field. The field listens, the field responds. This is why two people can say the exact same affirmation and get completely different results. One speaks from alignment, the other speaks from fear. The signal is everything. But here's what no one tells you. Your emotions aren't random. They are habits, patterns. They are the results of stories you've told yourself so often they became truths. If you constantly feel shame, it's not because the universe cursed you. It's because somewhere along the way, you believed you deserved to be small. And that belief turned into a signal, a loop, a magnet for matching frequencies. The good news? That loop can be broken, but not by louder affirmations or more spiritual books, not by shouting I am enough over and over again. The shift begins when you stop talking at the universe and start listening to your own emotional signature. Because beneath every word you speak is a deeper broadcast, and that's the one shaping your reality. So pause, feel what's actually there, not what you wish was there. That awareness is the first step toward reprogramming the signal. Most people try to change their lives by changing their words. They write mantras on mirrors. They fill journals with goals. They speak visions out loud, hoping repetition will force transformation. But nothing shifts. And slowly, they begin to believe that change is impossible, that they're broken, that the universe isn't listening. But the universe is always listening. The problem is it's listening beneath the surface. It's not tuning into the sentences on your vision board. It's tuning into the emotion that rises in your chest while you look at it. Do you feel excitement or anxiety, faith or desperation? The universe doesn't hear the sentence, I am abundant. It hears the frequency, I don't have enough. And so it responds, faithfully, to what's true in your energy, not in your mouth. This is why real transformation begins in the body, not the mind. Your body is the translator between dimensions. Every suppressed emotion, every unprocessed trauma, every repeated thought soaked in fear, it gets stored somewhere in your tissues, your breath, your nervous system. And over time, that stored emotion becomes your baseline vibration, a default signal, one that runs whether you're conscious of it or not. So how do you change the signal? not by pushing emotions away, but by feeling them completely. Emotions don't want to be fixed, they want to be witnessed. When you allow yourself to feel fully, without filters, the charge begins to release. The signal begins to shift, and for the first time, your words and your frequency begin to align. That's when the field responds. That's when reality bends. Because when you speak from coherence, when your emotion matches your intention, you're not just making noise, you're issuing a command, a pulse the universe can follow, not a plea, a beacon. You've been taught that clarity means knowing exactly what to say. But in the language of energy, clarity means feeling the truth behind what you desire. You don't need perfect sentences. You need alignment between the voice in your mind and the vibration in your heart, because if your heart says no, the universe hears no even if your mouth is saying yes. This is why intention without embodiment falls flat. You can visualize success every morning. You can script abundance, journal dreams, meditate for hours. But if your nervous system is still wired to survival, to fear, to lack, then that's the frequency you're operating from. That's the channel you're broadcasting on. And make no mistake, reality responds to the broadcast. It's not personal, it's precise. The universe is not punishing you, it's mirroring you. It's reflecting the emotional blueprint you're carrying inside your cells. And it will keep doing so until the signal changes. Not out of cruelty, but out of consistency, because creation responds to coherence. So what does coherence feel like? It's not a high. It's not fake positivity. It's not pretending to be grateful when you're really numb inside. Coherence is calm, grounded, a quiet inner certainty. It's when your desire isn't chasing something, it's flowing from something. When you're not begging the universe to fix you, but realizing you were never broken. That kind of emotional clarity has weight, it has presence, and presence bends reality more than any mantra ever will. This is why the ancient teachers always emphasized inner stillness, not as an escape, but as a tuning process. Silence wasn't about withdrawal, it was about alignment. Because only in stillness can you feel your actual frequency and choose consciously whether it matches the life you say you want. And if it doesn't, that's where the real work begins. If this is starting to resonate, subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss what the field is about to reveal next. Most people never realize they're manifesting all the time. Not with their vision boards or verbal affirmations, but with their dominant emotions. You manifest through your baseline state, not your best moments. That subtle tension you carry in your chest every day, that low hum of fear beneath your decisions, that's a broadcast. And it's active, even in silence. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are, a vibrational match for. This truth is difficult for the mind to accept because the mind loves control. It loves to plan, strategize, speak things into form. But the field doesn't speak in strategy, it responds to truth, and the deepest truths are emotional. That's why breakthroughs don't come during endless thinking. They come in moments of surrender when you finally feel something fully, without resistance. That's when the signal changes. The universe is listening, always, but not to your language. It's listening to your state. This is why healing your emotional body isn't just therapy, it's recalibration. It's quantum alignment. When you release suppressed emotion, you're not just feeling better. You're clearing distortion. You're updating the signal. And suddenly, things begin to flow. People show up, doors open. Not because you begged, because you stopped broadcasting noise. The question is, are you willing to feel what you've been avoiding? Because that's the doorway. That's how the signal shifts, not through control, but through connection. Connection to your own energy, your own truth, not the truth you tell others. The one that pulses through your chest at 3 a.m. when the mind is quiet. That's the signal the universe hears loudest. The field doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to purity. And emotional purity isn't about perfection, it's about honesty. When you're angry, be angry. When you're scared, be scared. Not to wallow, but to witness. Because suppression creates static, and static is what blocks the signal. You can't lie to the universe. More importantly, you can't lie to yourself. You can try, of course. You can decorate your fear with positive phrases. You can disguise shame with a confident smile, but energy always reveals the truth. And until you face that truth internally, you will keep experiencing it externally. This is why healing isn't intellectual, it's vibrational. The most powerful shifts in your life won't come from understanding, they'll come from release. From the moment you let go of the need to control the outcome and finally feel what's been buried for years. That's when the tension breaks. That's when your frequency recalibrates. And that's when the universe responds not with theory, but with change. Because the universe isn't waiting for you to speak the right words. It's waiting for you to become the right vibration. That vibration doesn't scream, it doesn't chase, it doesn't beg, it simply is. Like a tuning fork that draws in what resonates without effort. You don't have to force anything when your emotional state is coherent. You don't have to beg for love or money or peace. You become the version of you that those things naturally move toward. And that version, it doesn't emerge through hustle, it emerges through alignment. Alignment doesn't mean feeling good all the time. It means feeling true. And when you allow yourself to feel true, even if that truth is messy, you're already tuning the signal. You're already speaking in the only language the universe understands. So the question isn't, what should I say? The question is, what am I really feeling? Because that's what's manifesting. You've probably been told that emotion makes you weak, that it clouds judgment, that it needs to be managed, controlled, restrained. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if emotion real, raw, unfiltered emotion is your most accurate compass, your most direct connection to source? In the old world, emotion was seen as chaos, something dangerous, something to be disciplined. But the mystics knew better. They knew that emotion is not chaos, it's current. It's the movement of energy through form, and when you block it, you're not achieving control, you're cutting yourself off from the most vital feedback system you have. Think of emotion as a waveform. When it flows freely, it completes its cycle. It rises, it crests, it dissolves. But when you suppress it, it stays trapped, stuck in your body, looping in your field, distorting your signal, and that distortion becomes your reality. That's why certain patterns keep repeating in your life, not because you're unlucky, but because the energy behind them never got to finish its cycle. Unfelt grief becomes a magnet for loss. Repressed rage becomes a filter through which you interpret every challenge as threat. Until you feel it, really feel it, it will continue to shape the way the world shows up for you. But when you allow the wave to move through, everything changes. Emotion becomes motion. Stuck energy becomes clarity. You begin to realize that you were never broken, just blocked. And the blocks weren't punishment, they were invitations. Not to think harder, but to feel deeper. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Present with what's real, present with what hurts, present with what you've been avoiding. Because that presence, that still, courageous awareness is what transforms emotion into power. And the moment you do that, the universe doesn't just hear you, it moves with you. You've been trying to attract a different life without changing the emotional signal you're sending into the field. But the field isn't fooled by surface-level shifts. It responds to your core state. And your core state is shaped not by what you want, but by what you allow yourself to feel. Desire is not enough. You can want clarity, success, peace, but if underneath that desire lives a current of unworthiness, the universe doesn't deliver the want, it mirrors the worth. This is why doing the inner work isn't optional, it's the technology of transformation. You don't heal because it's a good idea. You heal because it's the only way to send a new signal. Until you resolve the emotional architecture that built your current reality, that reality won't shift. Not because you're cursed, but because you're coherent with the version of yourself you haven't outgrown yet. And that coherence is powerful. Not good, not bad, just exact. The universe is always delivering what matches your internal frequency. So the question isn't whether the law of attraction works. The question is, what part of you is doing the attracting? When you finally stop performing for the outside world and start listening to what's vibrating inside your own chest, something subtle happens. You begin to locate your true signal, not the one you've been trained to emit, but the one that was always yours, buried beneath all the conditioning. And from that place, manifestation isn't a trick, it's a consequence. life starts to shift. But not because you forced it, because you matched it. People feel your field differently. You stop negotiating for energy that once felt scarce. You stop chasing, because suddenly, you're not asking for what you want, you're embodying it. And the field always responds to embodiment. So if you're still waiting for the outside to change, start with this. Feel what's real. Feel it completely. Then ask yourself, what signal am I sending? Because that signal is writing your reality. The greatest shift you will ever make isn't in your words, it's in your frequency. Because words can lie, emotion cannot. The universe doesn't need your cleverness. It doesn't need your control. It needs your truth. When you speak from emotional alignment, you don't have to convince reality to listen. Reality leans in. The field organizes around the signal, not because you manipulated it, but because you finally matched the version of you that already exists in the timeline you're trying to reach. You're not trying to create a new life, you're trying to tune into it. And that tuning begins inside, not with better thinking, not with stronger belief, but with felt alignment, with courage, with presence, with an unwavering commitment to feel what's actually there. So pause right now. Forget the language, forget the affirmations. Ask yourself, what's the emotion I've been avoiding? What signal have I been sending without even knowing? Because that emotion, that signal, it's the architect of everything that happens next. This is not about trying harder. This is about feeling deeper. When you shift your state, your story follows. Not because you wrote a better script, but because you changed the frequency of the voice behind it. And now, you know what the field has really been listening to all along. So tell me, what emotion have you been broadcasting lately? Drop it in the comments. Let's see what kind of energy we've all been moving through.